All right, all right. Hope everything sounds good. All right, all right. Hope everything sounds good. All right. Hello, hello. Hope everything sounds good. All right. Hello, hello. Hope everything sounds good. Don't mind the echo. All right, so hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another late night stream. And my hair is a fucking mess, but don't worry about that. So welcome back to another late night stream, and we got a few things on tap for today. So strap yourselves in, get popcorn or whatever you need because it's gonna be a pretty long night, I would say. But I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are doing the same. So first things first. I have to have a little disclaimer. I have to admit something. Unfortunately, I am a pretty bad streamer because I say that because when we did the previous stream where we reacted to the College Football 25 news and we, reacted to the new trailer that EA put out for their gameplay, sights, and sounds, talking about the atmosphere and stuff like that, talking about fight songs, how they were getting very authentic to everything. Apparently, EA also put out a blog post that went more in detail on that. Didn't think to do that on the previous stream, so that's the first thing that we are doing on this stream, just to make it clear that hey, I at least have it on camera, I at least have it on stream that we showed it off. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the deep dive blog post that EA shared, I assume the same day. I'm just dumb and didn't think to look at EA's website for a blog post on what the sights and sounds, because apparently there is way more information that I didn't know and I didn't mention. So that's what we're doing first. So let's hop in the blog post. Oh, there is the stream manager. So hello. All right. So let's get into the blog post on EA's website. So yeah, apparently from what I heard, there was a lot more in-depth detail. They talk about the sights, sounds, atmosphere, and everything. Get the whole, what they're going, the pageantry of college football and college football 25. There is a lot more that the trailer just didn't mention, unfortunately. So let's hop in. So welcome back to the Campus Huddle, your home for news and information about EA Sports College Football 25, straight from the developers. Before we hear from our developers, Ohio State's own Kirk Herbstreit is back giving an inside look in the sights and sounds of College 25. This is the trailer, which is what we reacted to previously, so we're not going to react to it again. Alright, so during development, we came in every day with the reminder that every team is someone's favorite team. This led us to focus on ensuring the presentation contained as much of the detail, sights, sounds, and traditions of the 134 FBS schools as possible in College Football 25. Below is a behind-the-scenes guide of how a team of college football faction fanatics came together and impacted all in the game. Yeah. So this right here, talking about every team is someone's favorite team. I kind of touched on that a little bit in my trailer reaction that, it's great to see that EA didn't just put all the energy, all the money towards like the big schools like Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma, LSU, Georgia, right? They are not afraid to show off the small schools. Like you see Wake Forest right here in the little GIF right below on the screen. They've had a ton of Wyoming clips. I think in the last trailer that we reacted to, they had a lot of Kennesaw State gameplay showed off and everything. So it's not just the big schools, which is great. Every team is someone's favorite team, and I'm very hype about it because they showed off Mizzou twice in the trailer. That's the first time we ever saw Mizzou in the game. So yeah, so having the reminder of every team is someone's favorite team is great. It shows attention to detail because other people have mentioned it. Arkansas State has a flippin' waterfall outside their football field. I, like many other people, didn't realize that exists, but EA showed it off that, hey, we have the waterfall from Arkansas State in the game. It's like, wait, there's a waterfall? Who knew? So let's see. Picture this. You're playing as Penn State getting ready to take on your opponent. This all starts their team running out of the tunnel to Zombie Nation. Interesting. I don't think I remember hearing that Zombie Nation was even confirmed part of the soundtrack. So to hear that it's confirmed is interesting. Okay. Or maybe it was, I just don't remember. Blasting the whole stadium chanting, "We are Penn State." Okay. So a couple things with this. Hearing this little sentence, I question if Enter Sandman is there. Because technically, Enter Sandman is a very, very, very big deal if you are a Virginia Tech fan, right? That's the whole point of going to a Virginia Tech game. You hear Enter Sandman. And I know a lot of people are disappointed hearing that Enter Sandman wasn't confirmed on the list of songs to be in the game. So I'd imagine hearing this, "We are Penn State with Zombie Nation," Enter Sandman has to be there with Virginia Tech for authenticity, right? I'd imagine. We recreated that feeling, sound and visuals of pregame as if you are down the field with them. There is nothing like it, and we want to make sure that you could experience the same feeling that these players have when you're walking out as your favorite team. This is also really cool. Traditions, runouts. To nail down that authentic feeling of college football, the school atmosphere is where it all begins. Walk out the tunnel with 100,000 family and friends screaming for you, supporting you. We stay up close and personal with our camera style throughout the game. This is done so you can feel the excitement with our epic runouts for each team and feel like you are just as much a part of the team as the real players. Okay. Interesting. So, I wonder, I'm assuming, obviously, this is clearly Alabama. The Be a Champion sign, you have the Alabama logos over here, and this is, Bryant-Denny Stadium, right? We're showing off a lot of home teams, home runouts, right? I wonder if the same energy is going to be applied for the road team. Like, obviously it's not a huge walkout if you're on the road playing at Alabama, but you still walk out, the tunnel and everything if you're playing at Alabama. So I wonder if you still see, if you're on the road, do you still see your team run out the, sidelines and everything? And more so, on top of that, do you not only see your road team run out the sideline, but you also get intimidated by seeing the home team run out in front of their fans? That is something that I don't think we will know until we get our hands on this game. But that is a legitimate thought that I'm thinking about. I'm putting a pin in it. Motion capture. I sound southern. Motion capture was the key to ensuring the accuracy and detail of all the props from historical items to the brand new traditions of gameplay. Every prop was built to its accurate size and weight, then mocapped in the studio, allowing real people to interact. And also, great to see, we get to see Mizzou appearance up close and personal, which is great. And as someone who has been to a lot of Mizzou football games, and I've seen this can a lot, yep, this is very accurate to what it is, so it's great. Schools tear through banners, that's great. This is Michigan from the Big House. For the Gator Tunnel, we travel to Gainesville to get an exact scan of the Gator statue the players tap. That's interesting. I do love to see this behind-the-scenes footage and photo work. All the way to the fountain in Arkansas State. See, look, they even mentioned it. Mascots. This is also interesting. This is something that, me personally, I care about. If you get the mascots right, and you get the sights and atmosphere right, this could be a good game, in my opinion. It's something that, clearly, the NFL lacks. Speaking of game day, mascots are one of the most fun aspects of college football. Agreed. The variety and detail is unmatched across sports. This encompasses everything from humans in massive costumes to real animals. We have 50 total mascots in the game, including 40 team mascots and 10 animals representing their schools. Okay, is this... It's a dog. I can't tell what school it is. Is this Tennessee? The Volunteers? Because I know they have a mascot with a person in the suit and a real life dog. Is this Tennessee? I think. For the mascots, we initially did a lot of internal research for each one, checking on what's unique about each mascot and what do fans enjoy about them most. For example, the Texas Hook'em had Follow Me Eyes. The team walked to get that same lateral practical effect. Along the way, we talked to alumni in our school contracts to find out even more little details. Mascots such as Stanford Tree that change every year, or every animal named mascot that grew over time, such as Ralphie in Colorado. We did adjustments on our education. Huh. Interesting. So that's good to hear. That's really, really good to hear. So it's not just, copy and paste, hey, let's just, let's mocap animations for mascots once and then just copy and paste the code for all the schools, right? Don't worry about if it's authentic or whatever, because it's just a mascot, right? Just copy and paste the code, right? Because in my opinion, that's kind of what the old college football games did. Like, you could, play at Tennessee. You could, play at Mizzou. You could play at Alabama. You could play at Oregon. You could play at any of these schools. And the mascot will always do the same, like, 2 or 3 or 4 animations on a sideline. And they got very repetitive. There was no different factor of what school you went to. So the fact that they painstakingly, supposedly, if this is to be believed, they painstakingly went through each school, each mascot, and made each of them unique based on what they actually do. Because mascots are different based on what school you go to. That is promising. Turnover traditions, the new era. Not only do we have the classic school traditions in the game, but the new era of traditions include turnover and touchdown props made into the game as well. All this action takes place during gameplay, and examples of what you might see are chainsaws, championship belts, basketball hoops, even a throne. Okay. So, speaking from the Mizzou side of me, Mizzou has a turnover boxing robe. That's their, whole gimmick. That's their whole facade. That's the right word. That's their whole facade. If you get a turnover, they cloak them in this like big black and yellow boxing robe and parade around. So that better be in the game. If you're talking about chainsaws, you better see a boxing robe. Because if so, when we play a Mizzou Dynasty and I'm playing on defense, you'll be seeing that turnover robe for quite a few times. For schools that we are further away, we requested reference materials, and over 80 schools responded, providing an average of 1,000 photos each, amount to a staggering amount of nearly 80,000 photos to reference from. Additionally, we plan to update stadiums post-launch as you receive new architecture and designs from schools that say College Football 25 is authentic everything you see on Saturdays. Huh. So that's interesting. So this kind of reminds me of what happened with Texas State and the whole Red River rivalry between Texas and Oklahoma. This sentence right here. Because apparently, in the first trailer, they showed off Texas State in like an aerial shot. Apparently, it's a 2 or 3 deck stadium, but the trailer only showed the stadium having 1 deck, so people are calling out like, hey, where's the other decks of the stadium? And EA said, like, yeah, that was just like a pre-beta test of the game and everything. We already fixed that before the game launches, right? So then people ask the question, like, okay, if you knew it was an issue, you knew it wasn't accurate, why release a trailer showing inaccurate information? The same thing was said about the Oklahoma-Texas Red River rivalry, where apparently the side where the Oklahoma Red fans were sitting and the Orange Texas fans were sitting, apparently they got it flipped. They got the inverse, right? Let's say Oklahoma fans were sitting on the left and Texas fans are sitting on the right, like you're supposed to in the game, in real life. Apparently, in the trailer, they flipped it. So Oklahoma was on the right and Texas was on the left. Another thing that EA said they know and they fixed before the game launched. But once again, it's one of those things where it's like, if you knew it was wrong, why did you release a trailer with wrong information? So, reminds me of this sentence, where post-launch, once the game gets released, if people come out and say, this is not accurate, or this is not up to date, or this is missing, they will make adjustments to stadiums and atmosphere post-launch once the game gets released, which is encouraging to hear that they're not just going to release the game and just let it die. And hey, if there's issues, well, sucks to suck, I guess. Right? So it's good to hear that developers are going to release the game and then periodically give updates to make it more accurate, which sounds basic, sounds common sense, but, in this gaming industry, especially with AAA developers, you'll be surprised how many games they just release and then they just let die. Let's see, is there anything else? College uniforms. I mean, that's not really that important to me. Maybe just because Mizzou doesn't have that many. I think they have 3 alternates. You have the black, you have the yellow, and then you have an all-white uni, and that's pretty much it. We're not like Oregon, we have 50 different jerseys for every day of the week. So I guess if you're an Oregon fan, you care more about uniforms. From a Mizzou's perspective, I don't really know. So let's move on. Nice muscle shirt. Actually, it is not a muscle shirt. So
get good, scrub.
Crowd noise. Over the last 2 seasons, we worked with ESPN to capture crowd audio straight from their broadcasts, from Autzen Stadium to Death Valley, both of them, and more. This content will function as our crowd noise, souls and reactions you'll experience in every game you play. Okay? Remember that OT game from 2022 between LSU and Alabama? Yes? Yeah, we were there and we got all of it. In addition to that game in Baton Rouge, we ended up capturing crowd noise from 41 games in place like Oregon State, Georgia, Florida State, Duke, UCLA, Texas, West Virginia, Georgia Tech, Miami, Ole Miss, Missouri, Kentucky, NC State, North Carolina, USC, Florida, Auburn, Louisville, Washington, Alabama, Michigan, from the previously mentioned LSU, Clemson, and Oregon. Okay, so of all these teams, there is only one that we are highlighting. There's only one that we care about in this grand scheme of things. EA recorded broadcast footage and crowd noise from some game with Missouri in, let's say, the last 2-3 years. Now, question is, what games did they do? Right? What games did they do? Some games that come to mind is last year when Mizzou beat Kansas State off a walk-off field goal by a 60-yard field goal by Harrison Mevis, the thicker kicker. That immediately comes to mind. Let's see, what other games can I think of that crowd noise would play a factor? Another one is even though these are losses, Mizzou versus LSU last year as well, and then 2 years ago, Mizzou versus Georgia, those were also sold out games. Those games immediately come to mind of being sold out. You can feel the crowd energy in those games. Those games immediately come to mind where there's a ton of crowd noise, so it'll be a lot better for you to record sites from those games instead of a game like, oh, let's record a broadcast audio when Mizzou played North Texas from 3 years ago, right? Crowd noise from the Mizzou game when he stood up defending champ LSU on the 1 yard line to win the game. That would be wild. Oh yeah. Dakota, you were at that game, right? Because that was during COVID. Right? You were at that game. You were at that game. I didn't realize you were at that game until like the very end of the fourth quarter. And that's where I met like Brett and everything. Right? Is my memory serving me correct? IND was a game. Yes, yeah. Do I dare? Do I dare react to that moment? Hold on. Shit. I was not expecting this. Mizzou, LSU, goal line stop 2020. Damn it, not 2002. Yeah, that was sick. That was amazing.
Thing other than give it to
me, Google. You bastard. All right. Man, I just have so many memories from this game. Just this moment was insanity. All right. Let me react to this. Hold up.
I'll be surprised. I'll be shocked.
I'll go up in here.
He's on Brennan's right side, and they do give it to him, and he does not get there. Gets stopped. Now what? Will Missouri use a timeout?
Not a fan of that formation,
no. I mean, I can't believe you wouldn't stop the clock either way. They're right back to the line of scrimmage in a hurry. Under 30 seconds, hand it off again, and he's not going to get there again. Now, maybe LSU uses its final timeout. It's 3rd and goal coming up. Good grief. Position in the backfield. Brennan, play fake. They get it knocked down. They were trying to get it to Marshall. And Nick Bolton was right there reading the play to knock it down. Last chance for LSU coming up.
Bad throw by Brennan. He simply had to get that ball up over Bolton to give Marshall a chance. Instead, he threw it sideways. It was just like a hanging curveball, and Bolton slapped it.
And I don't see Gilbert in the game either, by the way. Maybe he snuck in now, but I don't see him in there. Marshall on the right side. Do they run? Do they throw? 4th and goal LSU.
You got to take a look at Marshall.
Brennan's going to roll right, looking in that direction, throws right, and it's knocked away. Incomplete.
My God. Like, chat, hold up 1 second. I was not even expecting to react and talk about this, but now that fucking Dakota brought it up, I now just have to. Oh my God, that game was iconic. Right? Like, there's so many things to say about that game. Number one, in my opinion, if it wasn't for COVID, because that was in the 2020 SEC only schedule lockout year, had it not been for COVID, that was my senior year of Mizzou, which sucks. But if it wasn't for COVID, that right there would have been a time where Mizzou would have rushed the field. Like, I will die on that hill, take it to the grave. Out of the 4 years that I went to Mizzou football games, that is the game right there. That's the game right there. If there was ever a game that would give Mizzou fans an excuse to rush the field, it was that game. Mizzou against the defending champion LSU in a 4th and goal line stand. First SEC conference win with your new head coach, Elijah Drinkwitz. That was the game. That was the game right there. If it wasn't for COVID, I would have gotten to rush the field. And unfortunately, I never got to. And that's just something that I have to live with the rest of my life, unfortunately. But no, this moment was unbelievable. Like, just reacting to this.
Good grief. Position in the backfield. Brennan.
Like, when number 32, I know that's guy. That's Nick Bolton. When it was 3rd and goal and Nick Bolton batted that pass away, I was already screaming my head off for a 1st and goal, 2nd and goal, and it exploded when Nick Bolton knocked the ball away on the pass on 3rd and goal. I was already losing my voice.
Play fake. They get it knocked down. They were trying to get it to.
It's 4th and goal. We have to do this one more time.
Marshall and Nick Bolton was right there reading the play to knock it down. Last chance for LSU coming up.
Bad throw by Marshall in curveball game either. But
I was just like, my voice can't take this. Like, my voice is already dead. It's now 4th and goal.
By the way, maybe he's snuck in now, but I don't see him in there. Marshall on the right side. Do they run? Do they throw? 4th and goal
Marshall.
LSU.
You got to take a look at Marshall.
Brennan's going to roll right, looking in that direction, throws right, and it's knocked away.
Bat away. Celebration happens. Mizzou players rush the field, and Mizzou got a penalty flag, because they rushed the field and everything. But it didn't matter because they need the ball down. That was the game. It was such a crazy moment. God. Dakota, way to pull that game out of the hat, because I would not have remembered that game. I would not have remembered, because I wouldn't think that college football, EA people would record audio from a game in 2020 when we didn't even know college football was coming out until like mid-2021. So shout out to you for pulling that memory out and having me react and share my thoughts on that. But no, that was a crazy moment, and sports-wise, one of my favorite moments as a Mizzou student by far. It's that and Michael Porter Jr.'s debut, which wasn't much what we got to see playing-wise, but the lead up to that was iconic. If you want me to talk about that, I can also talk about that memory. Leading up to Michael Porter Jr.'s debut, which was my freshman year. That game was incredible. Apparently they've been working on NBA Live. I assume you mean college football 25. So it could be possible. Maybe. I'm just saying that you couldn't... The NIL deal, which was the whole issue with college football games in the past, that thing didn't happen until 2021, right? Because the whole reason... Because the whole reason why college football games died past 2014 is there was a lawsuit out being like, college football athletes are considered amateurs. They can't make any money off their likeness or everything they do. They get kicked out of school and everything. But here is this college football game that is making money off this game and everything. And yeah, they're not naming the players and everything, but they still have the same number as the players and everything. So you're kind of making money off of them. And it's like, I don't get a cent in everything. So it's the whole thing about fighting our college football players and college athletes in general. Are they amateurs or professionals? Which, that's a whole other can of worms I'm not getting myself into. Anyway, let's move on with this. Blog post. This is my fight song. One of our feature producers traveled to Nashville to record every team's fight song. We utilized an amazing group of musicians. Okay, blah, blah, don't care. Now, this is the juicy stuff. This is what we really care about. No disrespect to the composer, of course. But gamer-wise, we don't care. Not only did we record each team's fight songs, but we also recorded many of the rousers that are currently heard between plays and during pressure moments throughout a game. Some examples include Go Gators, Roll Tide Roll for those staying rousing moments, Mars for those third and fourth down defensive moments, and a few others you'll just have to find out for yourself. Over 180 school band songs and drum groups, include all 134 fight songs, are in the game. This process took 11 days, 3 different groupings of players, marching, percussion, brass, and winds. We are so excited for you to hear and experience each of these songs, whether it's class like Hail to the Victors from Michigan, for the first time ever in our college football game history, War Eagle from Auburn, or you maybe heard this time first time. By the way, the JSU fight song from Jacksonville State slaps. Okay. Mizzou's perspective. What songs can I think of? What fight songs? Or like, what subtle songs does Mizzou have in like third and down moments? Trying to think. Trying to remember. Because it's been a couple years. God damn. I can think of other schools, what they do for third down. Why can't I think of what Mizzou does? Damn it. Am I that much of a casual? Like, I can remember, like, what other schools do. Like, for instance, Ohio State, whenever it's third down for them in the horseshoe, they do Hell's Bells from AC/DC. I know this because I went to Ohio State game, first time in my life, and to this day, that game is the most, I shit you not, right? Once again, also hand on the Bible on this. Not only the most loud, crazy college football game I've ever been to in my life, it is also one of the biggest sporting crowds and craziest sporting crowds I've ever been in my life. Like, that goes for NBA, that goes for the NFL, that goes for other college football schools, college basketball, everything. Hell, even college hockey. Everything. Nothing compares to an Ohio State game that I went to. What year was it? It was like, let's see, I was third grade. So I was 2008? I think. Let's see. It was 2007 or 2008. Yeah, 2008. Yeah. Oh, no, that's not the game. Wait. Was it 2009? Because it was down to the wire. Here we go. This is the game we went to. Number 3 USC versus number 8 Ohio State. It was 18-15, and USC won at the very end in the fourth quarter. Yeah. This game, to this day, the loudest and craziest sports environment I've ever been to in my life. And it doesn't come close. Like, it is ridiculous. Right? It is insane. Like, I would just want to put this into context. I went there with my dad, who is a USC alum, and that's, by the way, that's how I got into college football and sports in general, is because I watched USC games as a little lad. But to this day, he still brings up this USC Ohio State game. Like, oh, you remember that USC Ohio State game? He still brings it up to this day. No other games get that kind of treatment. It was that impactful. It's crazy. full Mizzou football uniform first college football stream, yes or no? I wouldn't say that I will be in a football uniform, but, I mean, I did show it off on the first reaction for the college football trailer. Hold on, let me get it. This jacket, this blazer, I'll 100% be wearing this on July 15th when, might as well wear this since showing it off and everything. I'll 100% be wearing this on July 15th when the game comes out, when we do our Road to Glory and Dynasty, anything Mizzou related, on opening night of College Football 25. We will be wearing minimum, I say minimum because there's going to be more, trust me, but at minimum, we will be wearing this when College Football 25 comes out. Right? Because I feel like this is something that we went on for over a decade. You got to go all out. You got to go a little special for this occasion. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Crowd themes. Another example of what makes college football so special are the theme games when the crowd comes together in unison to create a pattern across the stadium. From the checkered pattern, okay. We have over 170 different patterns to schools that have them in real life. Okay, so Mizzou has the Tiger Stripe game. So you have, stripes throughout the arena in a circle where it's a black stripe is like this section of the stadium, then it's a yellow stripe, then it's a black, then it's a black, then it's a yellow, then it's a black. And it circles around the stadium. So that better be in the game. I assume it's over 170. It better be one of them. Dynamic attendance. A new feature to help bring more authenticity into the game revolves around attendance levels in the stadium. To help paint a better picture, here's a great example for one of our team members who was playing a dynasty with FIU. During the first couple of games, the stands were not very full, which resulted in a lower home field advantage stadium pulse. Once again, a big win on the road at Indiana, and the team record was 7-0, the stands were becoming more full to start the game. By the end of the season with a 10-1 record and finishing in the top 25, home games resulted in solid crowds and home field advantage was now rocking high on the way to the conference championship. Yes! Thank you, EA. Thank you. Thank you. Because I've been saying that as part of my wish list and part of the trailers. I was like, because we brought up the example of the Michigan-Penn State example where it got so loud in the first play of the game where Michigan had to call a delay game because it was so loud. I was like, just think about how cool it'd be where you start off a dynasty and it's dead quiet. There's not much of a home field advantage because you're starting off. You're not as much of a big program yet. But you get to a powerhouse, and now you're the intimidating environment. Now your place is rocking. Now your place forces delay of game calls against your opponent because your place is so loud. Yes, that will be such a great moment and come full circle showing. To me, it adds a lot of replayability factor because you may, start off doing a dynasty versus like an actual in real life, like let's say, 2 or 3 star program, build them up to a powerhouse, see the crowd level get insane, and now do the same thing. Okay, let's do the same thing. Make it even harder now with a 1-star, create a dynasty program and do the same thing. So that's lots of replayability factor. As opposed to in the past college football games, you would make a dynasty. They would go from a 2-star all the way to a 6-star program. But the stadium, the atmosphere, the environment, the crowd noise would all be the same depending on whether you're a 2-star or a 6-star. It wouldn't change. Which kind of sucked and was underwhelming. So the fact that it changes is awesome. And also, wonder, for dynamic attendance, I wonder if it plays the same as an actual game itself. Not just throughout the season or throughout your program, but an actual game itself. Right? Let's say you are at home and you're getting blown out by 30. Does your stadium start to dwindle out and crowd starts to get smaller as people start to leave as you're getting blown out? I assume so. Crowd section layouts. In addition to seeing the unison of the crowd come together for key matchups, each and every stadium is set up with the band section, away visitor section, and student section. Also, schools are equipped with pageantry props accurate to life, such as pom-poms in Michigan, Tennessee, Towel, South Carolina Pit, even a Tiger Tails from Missouri. That is sick. That's a massive dub. Crap. I was gonna show off the Tiger Tail, but I think I have it at home. Not this home, my childhood home. Unfortunately. But no, that's sick. That is awesome. And that makes me think, coming back to the previous thing about, wonder where they got the crowd noise from Missouri. Mizzou, Kansas State is an option because that place was rocking with the Tiger Tails. Coincidence? I think not. The student section is the lifeblood of the stadium that brings the energy, passion, emotion that spreads across the whole stadium, creating the overtop college football atmosphere we all love. Agreed. We all know what the students do all game, stand and cheer. So in the game, the student section stands the whole game cheering on their team. We capture both male and female because we're all about that equality. To recreate those high intense third down moments. Not only the big moments captured, but also the heartbreaking ones. And remember the surrender Cobra, it's in the game. Just don't miss the game when you feel good and you'll be spared. Damn. Hand signals. Wisconsin W, the Miami U, yeah. Mizzou unfortunately doesn't have one, so let's skip past this one. Chants. Another huge tradition, especially to college football, stadium-wide chants. The fans, alumni, and students all work together to fire up their players as an instrumental rally cry for to intimidate an opponent. Yep. For schools we weren't able to visit, we went to the top of the parking garage at our Orlando studio and yelled out each chant over and over again to nail down the pace and accuracy for each chant needed. 11 sessions later, we ended up capturing over 220 chants for our game from OHIO for Ohio State. I heard that a ton in 2009. To the third down chirps to the Cardinals of Ball State. We've covered as many as possible. Not only will you hear the chants, but many are timed to the massive crowd movements like Let's Go Blue with the crowd pumping from their arms to the air 3 times the war chant with the whole doing the tomahawk jump. I cannot read. Missouri, M-I-Z-Z-O-U. Okay. That's sick. Okay. So, if you ever been to a Mizzou game, you know this. And for the people who don't know, so the whole M-I-Z-Z-O-U chant, it's one side of the stadium says M-I-Z, and the sound bounces off to the other side of the stadium, and you hear the other side say Z-O-U. And there's a handful of times where it is so bombastic, it is so loud, that you'll shout M-I-Z, and the Z-O-U will get even louder coming back at you, because they'll reflect off. It is so cool, right? So, student sections chant M-I-Z, the other side of the stadium chants Z-O-U, and I've expected to reflect back and forth and everything, which is awesome. Yeah, that's sick. I mean, we kind of expected it, just to, we kind of expected to see that, if we're being honest, in the game, but to hear that it's confirmed is great. SEC schools, nobody does this. Take it from someone who is part of the SEC. Nobody chants SEC. And I've been to multiple SEC schools for multiple college football games, so I don't want to hear about this SEC. No. I've been to numerous college football games at SEC schools. No one chants SEC. No one does because nobody cares. Broadcast team, yeah, we know that. That's awesome. studio updates, celebrations, hardware. We built each trophy from scratch, matching the weight and dimensions of real-life trophies. So this is getting into, so this is like the play menu, and so left is like showing a replay. I assume a fan's showing a replay of like a crazy moment or big hit or a crazy catch or a touchdown. This is the matchup summary, so this will show like, oh, wear and tear of a player, or, this is like how many like yards, like let's say passing yards Georgia Tech has compared to Florida State. And this will change based on how the game's going in real time. You won't just see matchup summary the entire game, which is great. And this is the play menu. Okay. Next up, our incredible teammates over on the Dynasty team will be providing a deep dive into all things that come in Dynasty mode. Dynasty mode, indeed. Definitely looking forward to that. Because, like I've said on the trailers and everything, I'm more of a Road to Glory person. That's more my bread and butter. That's more up my alley. There we go. That's more my bread and butter. The Road to Glory stuff. I personally like to create a player. Unfortunately, there's no high school. But I personally like to create a player, build him up through the depth chart till he's a starter, and then make him to a guy who's going to win the Heisman. Like, I personally like that more than starting out as a coach, recruiting, trying to build a program. I more like to create a player and build him up that way. But I'm still going to do the Dynasty mode. It's still going to be a lot of fun doing Mizzou and beyond. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So that's the blog post. So now that we got that checked off the list for this stream, we're only about an hour into the stream, and that's the first thing that we have on tap. So once again, hope you got the popcorn ready by then, and if not, well, hope you didn't burn the house down. Because they'll be sitting in the microwave for 50 minutes. So what next is on tap for the stream for today? We can also take this off because I think we are done talking about College Football 25, because the main reason I'm talking about College Football 25 was the blog post, and now we did it. So the next thing on tap for the stream is One Minuto. Okay, so we are back. The next thing on tap, as you can see, is this is Hoop Grids. So this is an NBA quiz, if you will. And the point of this quiz is you have this whole rarity score. You have to get it as low as possible. So let's just, give an example. Wizards, 25-point game in the playoffs. Let's just say John Wall. Right? So John Wall, 7% of people pick John Wall, which is not good. You want to get this rarity score as low as possible. So who is the guy on the Wizards who has a 25-point game in the playoffs and is rare, right? I assume Michael Jordan is also the same deal. Rarer than John Wall, so we got a little bit better, but we have to get it as low as possible. And if I'm not mistaken, if you get below 0%, that's considered the diamond level, or the platinum tier. It's either diamond or platinum, which is the best tier. That's what you want. I don't know what. I'm 2 days in Philly and 3 practice behind Embiid. Told me to quit TikTok, but he's injured all the time. I'm the best rookie shooter, but Matthew won't pass the rock. That's why it's in the blade. Huh? I don't even know what that said. All right. So that's just a demonstration of what this is all about. And by the way, it is now 12:01 a.m. So this is brand new that just released a minute ago. I did not time that out perfectly, or maybe I did. Maybe I'm a perfect streamer, and I timed it out perfectly just to go from one segment to the other right around midnight when this game would get updated. All right. So, once again, enough disclaimers out the way. Who is a guy that is... So you want to get the most obscure player. So who's a guy that played for the Wizards and Blazers? Or Wizards and Jazz? Wizards and Jazz. Or Wizards and Blazers. The easiest way I can think of it is trades, right? Right. Think of trades. Think of like the old 90s, 2000s, 2010s, which is my era. Like, who's the guy that played on like the old Jazz with guys like, Derek Favors and Al Jefferson and Gordon Hayward, who also played in the Wizards at one point. Didn't JaVale have a 25-point game? Not even kidding in the roster. Marcin Gortat. Yeah. John JaVale? Let's try Nene. Yeah, even better. Sick. Young JaVale? Did JaVale play on the Jazz? I don't think he did. I mean, we could try it. Yeah, no. I don't think JaVale played on the Jazz or Blazers. But yeah, that's the thing though. Like, you want to get journeymen. Jazz and Wizards, or Blazers and Wizards. Or play in the 2000s. Brandon Roy for the Blazers is obvious. Right, that's obvious. What about a guy like... I could have sworn C.J. Watson played on the Blazers in the 2000s. Huh, okay. Ish Smith? 2000s. I assume Darren Williams is common, right? Just to give us a starting point. Okay, well, that's not bad, 3%. Right, just give us a starting point. Blazers, let's pick Damian Lillard. 10 rebounds a game per season. I have one idea. Okay. That's a starting point, because I know Hassan Whiteside. He got a ton of rebounds when he was in Miami. Obviously, then he got the huge payday. He went to Portland, and he just shit the bed. He didn't care anymore because he was all about getting that bag. Then once he got that bag, he didn't care about playing ball anymore. So I was like, I mean, he didn't really get it on the Blazers, but he did get it in Miami. So, okay, that counts. But still not a great score. Al Jefferson for the Jazz, that feels obvious. Same thing for guys like Derek Favors. Let's see, who is more rare? Al Jefferson's 5%. Derek Favors is not even there. We got to get better than that, though. 10 rebounds a game for the Jazz. I assume Rudy Gobert is obvious, right? Yeah, obvious is obvious. Okay, so let's go back down to Al Jefferson just to give us a starting point. Arvydas Sabonis may be better for 10 boards. You, the older guys, have lower scores even if they are better. That's a good point. Sabonis' dad, that's a good point. Especially since his prime was robbed because he was playing international ball, so he couldn't. He got drafted. From what I remember, Arvydas Sabonis, he got drafted. Dakota, you have to correct me if I'm right about this. But Arvydas Sabonis, he got drafted when he was playing international, but he couldn't go to the NBA for like 3 or 4 more years during his prime. So then by the time he got to the NBA, he was no longer in his prime, so he's kind of a what if. What if he got drafted and went to the league during his prime? People said he was being an all-time great if he went to the league at the right time. Sabonis is 6%. What was Whiteside? Was he like 5%? Okay, so Whiteside's better. People say he would be top 10 all time if he started his career younger. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so we got some good ones. Like Darren Williams at 3%. That's not bad, but I feel like we can get better, right? I want to not be a casual. But that's another tough one. 25-point game in the playoffs. And a 10-plus rebound game in the season. And that could be anybody, any team, any position. Who has a 25-10 game, won in the playoffs and won in the season? Maybe Robert Parrish one night got hot. Chat! I mean, I'll take it. I don't know if we'll get much better than that. I'm keeping Robert Parrish. I am satisfied with that one. That's probably the biggest victory we'll get all night. All right. Who else? Man, I'm feeling really good after that. Okay, but now let's get back to these, the beginning ones. So, Wizards and Blazers, or Wizards and Jazz, played on both teams at some point in their career. Who's the journeyman? Let's see. Dante at some. No, I don't think Dante had some other played for the Wizards. Trey Burke? I'm just rallying off names. Trey Burke? No, he played for the Jazz. I think even the Timberwolves. Who are the players? Wizards and Blazers. Like, I can't even think of an obvious one just to get us like started. Like, it's such a weird combo. Wizards and Blazers. I don't want to cheat. I don't want to cheat. I want this to be authentic. Right, I can't even think of an obvious one just to get us started. Wizards and Blazers. Who? Who are you? Wizards and Blazers. If I say it long enough, maybe something comes to me. Wizards and Blazers. I mean, I could try Ish Smith. Nope. That didn't work. If only. Playing 2000s, 25-point game. Like, I mean, let's be obvious here. There we go. There's LeBron. He played in the 2000s, and chat, if you didn't know, LeBron had a 25-point game in the playoffs. Crazy. But let's get more obscure. Richard Hamilton. Let's go. We got 2 rare ones. That's something. Right? I feel like that's the best we're going to get. I like that. God. This combo team is really messing me up. Wizards and Blazers. Like, that once again, that's so weird. Right? Because I can think of Wizards Warriors. I can think of Wizards Celtics. I can think of Wizards Knicks. I can think of Wizards Suns. Like, I can think of a bunch of teams, but Wizards Blazers is just so off that I can't think of anybody. And same thing goes to the Jazz and Wizards. Jazz and Wizards. Maybe that's better. Let's stop thinking about the Blazers for a second and go to the Jazz. Jazz and Wizards. Once again, I don't want to cheat. I don't want to cheat. But I might have to just to get something in there. And we already got 2 rare ones, so that's more impressive than I thought we would get all night. I didn't think we'd get 1 rare, but we got 2 of them. Wizards and Jazz. Like, is there any, like, big, like, one of my mind's going to, is there any, like, big man from the 2000s, 2010s, from the Wizards that, like, maybe spent a year in the Jazz? All right, let's think of Wizards big man. You have Marcin Gortat. You have Nene. You have JaVale McGee. You have... who else? Maybe someone better than Rip, but... that is a very interesting name, and not something that people would think of. So let's try it. How do I spell it? Okay. Even better. Even better than Rip Hamilton. So, cool. Nice. But damn, this whole team's one is messing me up. Playing 2000s. I mean, that's just obvious. Brandon Roy. There you go. What about, instead of Brandon Roy, you have Wesley Matthews. There you go. That's not much better. So now all we have left is just the teams. Like, this is not bad. This is not a bad rarity score, for being honest. We got 2 rare ones, some golds at 1%. Silvers is kind of tanking us a little bit, but it's just this teams now. What the fuck? Blazers and Wizards. Blazers and Wizards. Blazers and Wizards. I don't want to cheat. I don't want to cheat. Did Tree Rollins play for the Jazz? Nope. Why am I blanking so hard on this? Like, we've done pretty good. It's now at this point, it's just, I've been streaming for over an hour now, and my brain is just mush. It's just gone. Blazers, Wizards, Jazz. Just think of somebody. Like, it doesn't have to be rare or anything. Just think of somebody that can place on the flipping board. Just so we have a name just to go off of. Like, okay, at least we got somebody. Now let's try to bring the lower score down. Because right now there's nobody. Washington Wizards, Blazers, and Jazz. I don't want to do this. Players who played for the Blazers and Wizards: Rasheed Wallace, Rod Strickland, Andre Miller, Juwan Howard, Trevor Ariza, Will Barton, Steve Blake, Antonio Daniels, Lonzo G, J.J. Hickson, Jaren Jackson. I'm pretty sure that's Jaren Jackson's dad. Robin Lopez. Oh yeah. Andre Miller, Shabazz Napier, Gary Payton II, Marshall Webster. Huh. Okay. I don't feel that dumb. A lot of these are role players that I would have never gotten. Like, I would never have thought Steve Blake in a million years, just being honest. Because the only time I remember Steve Blake is when he was in the Lakers with Kobe in 2013. Because I remember him on 2K. That's it. I don't remember Steve Blake on any other team. I guess just do Shabazz Napier. Okay. And Wizards Jazz. Byron Russell, Bernard King, Walt Bellamy, Spencer Haywood, Bojan Bogdanovic, Trey. What did I say? Trey? I said Trey Burke. Go back and rewind the tape. I said Trey Burke. That's the one we're typing. I should have just went with my gut and should have just typed it. Chris Humphries, Shelvin Mack, Bernard King, CJ Miles, Greg Monroe. Okay, well, as part of an honor system, I did say Trey Burke. And there we go. We got 23. Your score is better than 70% of grids. So, that's pretty good. I feel like we could have gotten better. The 2 silvers are definitely taking us. Yeah. And funny to mention Shabazz Napier. Because is Bronny James going to get the same treatment as Shabazz Napier? That's a solid thought. It's a solid question. Because, chat, if you didn't know, back in my day, back in a certain time frame, before the Big 3 era of the NBA surely died, before KD was a fucking pussy and joined the Golden State Warriors and made a super team, even more super, right? Before all that happened, LeBron was a free agent in Miami after just losing to the Spurs with young Kawhi, who locked his ass up and everything. And LeBron went on record saying on Twitter, it was during the UConn National Championship, that he really liked Shabazz Napier. The Heat saw that, saw LeBron was going to be a free agent. So what they did, with their end of first round pick, they took Shabazz Napier and trying to please LeBron. And guess what? Took LeBron's guy, Shabazz Napier. Same offseason, LeBron packed his bags and went to Cleveland. Within 1 year, Miami shipped off Shabazz Napier because they never wanted him to begin with. They got him because of LeBron wanted him. And look at what LeBron did. Yes, LeBron wanted the Heat to draft Shabazz Napier, and then he left. Yep. So, is the same thing that happened to Bronny. LeBron wants a team to draft a certain somebody, and then within a year or two, he packs his bags and leaves. Whether that's going to a different team, but most likely, LeBron leaving the Lakers, to me, screams retirement. So is Bronny going to get the same treatment? Where, let's face it, the Lakers drafted Bronny to please LeBron and make him happy and everything. Well, at some point, LeBron's going to retire, LeBron's going to leave, and then when that does happen, what's your backup plan? Are you keeping Bronny because you wanted to have him? Or did you just draft him trying to make LeBron happy? Which is why you also hired your best friend and podcast partner, JJ Redick. So no, I'm not a Bronny James hater, right? I'm not a Bronny James hater. I don't hate Bronny. It has nothing to do with that. I want LeBron to be successful. I want LeBron's son, Bronny James, to be successful. It's crazy. I'm not a Bronny James hater. What my concern is the Lakers drafting Bronny because they see the potential in him and they see that he's an NBA level talent, or do we have another Shabazz Napier situation where they're drafting a guy that is clearly not a fit for what they're trying to do, and they're just drafting him trying to please LeBron, and just for LeBron to respond with a big old fuck you and to leave in a year or two, and for them just be stuck with the bag of what do we do now? Do we keep Shabazz Napier because we drafted him but we didn't want to begin with? Same thing with Bronny. Do we keep him and develop him, or do we just ship him off because, well, we never want to begin with? The only reason we drafted him was because of making LeBron happy. And when LeBron retires, well, now what? So yeah, that's my main worry. Is our GMs drafting Bronny because he's an NBA level talent, or is it LeBron tampering, GM tampering, trying to get what he wants? Because let's face it, LeBron can say, and the Bron sexuals will take this to the high grave of whenever you spawn like, but actually LeBron isn't the GM, he doesn't make any decisions. You're telling me LeBron doesn't make any decisions on the Lakers? You're telling me it's just a coincidence that they were never looking at Devin Ham, the guy at UConn, the coach? Oh, no, not Dan Hurley. Darvin Ham's the guy they fired. You don't think it's coincidence that they never were looking at the UConn guy? Instead, they coincidentally are looking at LeBron's best friend, podcast partner, as the head coach, who's never coached a day in his life. You don't think that's a coincidence? Of all guys to hire, you hire his podcast partner. The Charlotte Hornets coach, he's also not in a job yet. You don't look at him because you're looking at LeBron's podcast partner. Same thing with Bronny. A lot of people say that he's not an NBA level talent, a guy that is just being talked about and getting dragged to this NBA draft conversation because of his last name. And as people say, like me, a guy that would benefit for 2-3 years in college instead of jumpstarting him straight to the league. Are you drafting Bronny because you see the potential and you see the NBA talent in him? Or are you drafting him trying to make LeBron happy? And you're telling me LeBron doesn't have a say, he doesn't have any control of what happens in the Lakers front office after what just happened the last month? Seriously. Stop the cap.